the first one is, how open are they about sharing why they're looking for something new? Number two is, what do they like about their job, and is it aligning with the new potential job that you're reaching out to them about? What do they dislike about their job? Is it something that is fixable? Have they tried fixing it? If it's not fixable or they haven't tried fixing it, how is it going to play out with a new one? Is it a match or is it not?
Initiating becoming a hiring machine sequence in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Tactical Tuesday. And if you listen to the last episode, we teed up a little spontaneously. It worked well through the conversation. That today we're gonna do the ghosting formula. Like, there's some variables that you can pretty well assume, guess, infer that are going to lead to you're about to get ghosted if they check these different boxes from a candidate. So yeah, Vivien, let's jump right on into this, because as you were saying about last week, we were both just like, oh my god, this is actually gonna be really fun to talk about and break down. So I know you spent some time thinking about it, but yeah, let's dive into this one.
Let's do it.
Okay, so
The easy answer.
Oh, go ahead. Go. Nope, we're on it, guys. We're crushing it today.
The easy answer is, you can usually tell when you ask them, why are you open to new opportunities at the end of your screening call, and what they tell you. If they say something like, oh, I'm just always open to exploring new opportunities, that's not really that much of a motivating factor. This is probably just somebody that's going to jump around, and if it's not a good enough process for them, or it's not like easy enough, low maintenance enough, good enough offer, they're going to ghost you. If their skin's just not in the game. Something needs to be really bothering them about their current job, where it's actually wanting them to go through the painful process of meeting with hiring managers, kind of sneaking around at work to have those interviews, because they are always during work hours. So there's a level of like sneakiness and deception. Most people just don't even want to deal with that. So it's painful to go through the job search process, even if they're not actively looking and then they're frustrated and you just reach out at the right time, which happens, and that's a blessing for them. But it's still a very painful process. They're not going to want to go through it if they're not really in it. So if they don't give you like a solid reason where it's like, okay, I feel you. This makes sense why you want to make a switch. And it needs to be at least two reasons. It goes back to the clamps, which is challenge, location, advancement opportunities, money, people, overall company culture, and job stability, security. Each of those 6 motivators has a spectrum of, I want 0 challenge, I want just the right amount, or I want like full challenge, borderline burnout, that's my thing. And there's a spectrum for every single one of them, and everybody has their own personal preferences. There's something that there needs to be 2 things, at least 2 things that they say, or that you can pick up on, where you're like, okay, so obviously this is what they want, this is where they're currently at, there is a mismatch, it is causing enough friction and pain for them to want to move.
Yeah, I like that. So two of the clamps. Okay, and as you were saying that was giving me an idea for another future episode. I'll talk about this after we finish recording. But yeah, I like that, where it's not over-indexing on any one of them, but really using just that methodology that we all know works, and then not just like, okay, they check 2 boxes, but how far along on this spectrum are they? It's like, yeah, I'd like to make a little bit more money. It's like, is that compelling enough versus, hey, we just had a second kid, our house is too small, like all that stuff. It's like, okay, so this is a significant variable in that case. So
if it's like, I want to make $1,000 more a month, like, like why?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to do with that? Why are you being driven that way? If they're like Dave Ramseying it, they're on like rice and beans and rice, they want to get out of debt, that $1,000, I get it, but they have to say, you have to tell that there's passion, there's friction, there is, I need to make a change. And they don't have to be like, I must make a change, save me, like it doesn't have to be dramatic. It can just be as little as, listen, I feel like I'm really stuck in this way at this particular job. This is where I would like to be. I don't foresee myself having this. You also need to check, have they had this conversation with their hiring manager, or are they keeping this to themselves? That's something to dive a little bit deeper into as well. If they're not sharing it with the hiring manager, why? Is it because they don't like confrontational conversations? That's something to keep in mind, depending on what the opportunities that you're reaching out to them about. If it's more of like a managerial leadership type position, they need to be okay with confrontation. If they can't do that, a little bit of a red flag. If it's because the hiring manager is just really toxic, you cannot talk to them, what have you, then that's a different story. That's toxic work environment. That's obviously something else. And then you can still figure out how are they when it comes to that confrontational things, if this is a requirement for the new role. Depending on where you are, you're going to have to deliver some bad news if you can't do that, or have difficult conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll figure that
But
one
not
out.
every position requires that, you know? So some people might say, you know what, I was C-suite for 10 years. I'm tired. I hate the responsibility. I want to spend more time with my teenage kids while I still have them in the house. I want to drop down to a director level. It happens all the time. They're happy to do it, but you need to hear the friction. So don't be afraid to reach out to people who are a few steps above what you're hiring for. Some people are interested in stepping down a few roles because they just don't want to do it. They've been there, done that. They're like, I have other priorities now.
Yeah. Okay, so kind of the what's the waffling is one variable in this ghosting formula. What is another piece in the formula?
You also need to figure out what do they like about their job, because if the likes aren't aligned, that's another problem. So most people, they don't notice or pay attention to what's working. They only pay attention to what's not working because that's bothering them, that's asking for their attention. But part of it is also, what do you really love about your job? And if it's like the very hands-on analytical type stuff, but the new role is more removed from that, more managing, delegating, and things like that, obviously that's not going to be the right fit. And once they realize that during the interview process, they might not want to break the news that they've made a bad judgment call on this or misunderstood or whatever. People just don't want to say that. A lot of times people are not going to be like, oh, I changed my mind. I really do like this about my job. It made me realize that I actually do want to keep doing this and I can figure X, Y, Z out. It happens, and that's also a good thing. But you also need to know, what do they like and what they currently like about their job, what they want to keep doing. Will they be able to do this at the new position that you are reaching out to them about?
So kind of leading them into thinking through that process. Okay. Is there a third piece of this formula? And it's usually good to have 3 variables. Nice round.
For the really difficult ones, what I used to love to do is, if somebody wasn't going to give me like, why are you open to new opportunities, and was like I'm just always looking around, it's fine. Maybe it feels too vulnerable too early in the conversation. Then you're like, okay, that makes total sense. Fair point. What do you love about your job? I want to make sure that what you love, you can keep doing. So you ask about that. After they give you all of this, dive a little bit deeper, be like, okay, so like, why do you like this? What about this? Is it this aspect? Is it that aspect? And then ask, hey, like, if you had a magic wand, what is the one thing that you would fix about your current job? They will tell you something. It's a little bit less confrontational than what makes you open to new opportunities. It's more like, oh yeah, I could fix this. It's not, for some reason, it's the same question. It leads to the same answer. But for some reason, psychologically, it gives a little bit more safety, because it's like a hypothetical. There is no magical wand that I'm just going to magically wave, and then stars are going to come out, or like some laser beams, and it's going to fix things. It's just not going to be a thing. So it disarms people. It makes them a little bit more comfortable to talk about it in hypothetical, fictional type scenarios like that by just changing the question. And that way you can figure out, okay, what do they like? What do they dislike? Is this gonna help fix it? And if not, just be like, hey, to be completely honest, it sounds like you really love blah, 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 blah. My impression from talking to the hiring manager is it's more like blah, 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 blah. And really tell them, hey, like, how do you feel about this? I want to make sure that that this is aligned. So this is kind of what I'm picking up from you. Let me know if I'm misunderstanding. I want to represent you correctly. And I want to make sure that I'm understanding what it is that you're looking for properly. This is kind of where I'm seeing a little bit of a disconnect. Are you feeling this way too? Can you clarify? Did I misunderstand something? Did I misrepresent something? Like, you can totally be honest as a recruiter and be like, I feel like I didn't quite explain it well, and that's on me. Like, fully own that. And that way, when you lead with that kind of openness and trust, they're more likely to then come back and not actually ghost you, as opposed to just vanish into thin air.
Yeah. Okay. So, final formula. Likelihood of ghosting equals What are those three variables?
So the first one is, how open are they about sharing why they're looking for something new? Number 2 is, what do they like about their job, and is it aligning with the new potential job that you're reaching out to them about? What do they dislike about their job? Is it something that is fixable? Have they tried fixing it? If it's not fixable or they haven't tried fixing it, how is that going to play out with a new one? Is it a match or is it not? And grab these 3 together, mush them together, and you will get like a ghosting score.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so that's a good one. And it's almost like you weight some of the variables. So you have those 3. It's not just like binary yes, no, 1 + 1 + 1, but it can be, like you said, everything lives on a spectrum. So weight them, and you can kind of come up with what's your right model for it. But yeah, for each role or industry or anything else, there's probably going to be a slight variation to it. But yeah, I think this will be interesting. I want to try this myself and just see how it pans out. But hey, maybe some of our listeners will give it a shot and let us know what they think. All right. Well, this was a fun one, Viv. This is our last recording for 2025. I had to think about what year it was for a second because we're in annual planning mode, and I'm like, is it 2025, 2026? 2024 seems like yesterday, but hey, that's already crazy long ago.
I still write 2024 sometimes.
Yeah. Twilight Zone. We're in it.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in it. Yeah. So I will see you next year.
See you next year.
All right. Bye, y'all.